Hi guys, right, in the sort of the next saga, shall we say, of sorting out the steering, I'm pulling the whole front end off the bike again. The reason I'm pulling it off it is I've now got the wheel jacked up. This thing should be flopping all over the place. What I'm actually getting is, it's actually jumping. And what I've discovered is that on a way in, just in here, just at the edge there, it's actually binding, the slab here is binding on the edge of the frame. So when I'm squeezing down the top, it's actually squeezing the whole setup here. So the bearing, for some reason or other, is not sitting properly. So I've got to go back now and pull the front end off, double check, see why the bearing isn't seating properly, and do whatever I need to do to make sure that this thing turns freely. That could sort of solve a lot of the issues with the steering. All right, I pulled the whole front end off the bike. I figured out what the problem was. There basically was, on the original, I compared it to an original bottom slab. On the bottom slab, inside there, is a taper, which effectively rises the headstock up and creates a gap between the headstock and the slab. We actually put a spacer into it, but the spacer was about 0.5 of a mil too narrow, and it slid up into the headstock. Therefore, the headstock came down and was binding against the bottom slab. Now that I've made up a new spacer, I'm sort of one hand now comfortably wobbling the wheel backwards and forwards. I'm delighted with that. Couldn't be happier. So hopefully that now and the steering rack put into it should solve all of my steering problems. So that's it. Right, after the last video, I thought absolutely everything was hunky-dory and I had no more issues other than fitting the steering rack. When I put the whole lot back together, put the bike back on the ground, the steering still felt a little bit tight and a little bit notchy. So took it all up, took it apart again, the whole of the part, went back in and started examining the bearings, and it turns out that the bottom steering head bearing, it must have taken a knock or something in the process of all the ins and outs over the course of fitting it. So the bearing is slightly, one of the rollers is slightly damaged on the bearing. So as far as I'm concerned, that needs replacing. It's not an option to go putting that back in. So I'll order up a new set of steering head bearings and we can plow on again and get this thing finished. Right, I got my bearings today from Pat at Motorcycle Parts Ireland. In fairness, quick service. There's my bearing. That's the part that was damaged. It's one of these little roller guys. It wasn't turning properly and it was jamming, so it's just as easy to whip out the bearing and put a new one in. Now, in the process, when you put your new bearings in, guys, don't forget this guy. This is a dust seal, and it literally just, as you can see there, it just slips down over there and your bearing sits down on top of it. Tap your bearing in. It's easy enough, just tap it around the edge there, but make sure you don't hit the outside, just tap the inside of the race and it'll be fine. And do it gently. No, I haven't changed the races on the bearing because there's no need. These are brand new. The original bearings that I damaged was brand new. So there's no issue with these. These are perfect. So there's no need to change them. I'm not going to go into all the trouble hammering them back out again. Right, the steering head bearings are done. All I got left now to do is bang on the top slab. I'm delighted they went on really easy. As you can see now, one-handed, very, very easily. I'm very, very easily turning it. Which I wasn't able to do all before, even with two hands. So now I jacked it up, I've checked it for play, I've tightened down the top, I've tightened down the top nut here. So now it's just a matter of getting the top slab on it, getting it all buttoned down and everything back together, and happy days. I can get it back up on the lift then, and then I can start working on getting the steering rack fitted. So to be honest, I don't believe I'm going to need the power steering. I reckon the steering rack would be ample for what I need. So that's great news anyway. Okay, see you later guys, bye bye.